Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. For by his great mercy we have been born anew to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Seldom do I talk as directly about resurrection as I intend to today, in part because resurrection remains the great unknown of faith. We have confidence in it. We may set our life around it, but the it of resurrection is always ultimately unknown. Consequently, it is always difficult to explore and to discuss. Of course, we do often speak of resurrection within life, the opportunities to grow, to reform, or liberate our lives here and now. But today, I want to speak directly to the question of the resurrection, to the Christian teaching of life beyond death, the great mystery of life eternal that transcends our mortal bodies. Now, I tend not to focus on the matters of resurrection, that is, matters of life after our mortal death, not only because they are ultimately a mystery, but because they are also matters beyond our control and influence. Death is a battle I cannot, of my own, win, nor can you. So I choose to leave that work to God, in whom I have great faith and confidence. Finally, I tend not to focus on matters of life after death, matters of eternal salvation and resurrection, because we have enough work to do here and now with this good yet broken world we inhabit, this wonderful yet struggling community of which we are a part. Of all the things Jesus did and taught, resurrection occupies but a small part. So in the end, I tend to leave to God that which is God's, in order for us to focus our heart, our mind, and our strength on the work that is ours to do, the work of loving our neighbor as ourselves, of proclaiming the good news of God's grace, and the building up of a society of justice and mercy reflective of God's kingdom of heaven come. But here we are today, the third Sunday of Easter, face to face with Jesus resurrected, broiled fish and all. And it seems right that we spend a bit of time exploring this central tenet of Christian faith, Easter resurrection. Let me begin by saying again that matters of resurrection, what it is like beyond the veil of death and how it all occurs, is ultimately a mystery, a great and ultimate unknown. What I can speak about with confidence, however, is my experience of death and resurrection from this side of life. And my personal experience is this. On the one hand, I have not experienced a physical resurrection. All the loved ones, all those whom I have loved and cherished in life, who have died, are truly, verifiably dead. There are no hands to touch, arms to embrace, or meals to share. They are, as we say in Hawaii, make dai dead. This is a tragic and heartbreaking reality, but it is my experience, and I believe it to be a truly human experience as well. And yet, remarkably, they are not gone. In some wonderful yet mysterious way, all those whom I have loved and all those who have loved me into life are not dead. My mother is not here, yet she is everywhere at hand. My father, from whom I had been separated by thousands of miles for years, is closer now to me than he has ever been since my childhood on Iana Street in Kailua, Hawaii. And so it is true with others, my grandmothers, Luka Nakoa, Kavika Fairbanks, And all those whose lives have shaped mine remain present and alive within me with love and presence to this very day. They are not dead, but alive. This too is my experience. All that is to say that while I do not experience their presence as I once so wonderfully did in body, I still experience their life within me, a life I cherish still here and now. This too, I believe, is a truly human experience. Over and over again, to this very day, I have conversations with people of all ages and various faiths who share a common phenomena of a living, loving, ongoing presence with loved ones who have died. No, they are not here in the way they once so wonderfully were, yet they remain wonderfully alive and present still today. And this is not limited to Christian experience. Nearly, I say nearly, simply because I cannot claim to know all, nearly all faith traditions express some awareness of life eternal. Even old Hawaii remembers our Aumakua elders who had leapt off of Kaena Point into the great deep, remaining present to guide and encourage generations to come. This experience of life beyond death conforms to my experience of love and life as well, both of which stand in stark and direct contrast to death. Life and love are ever filled with warmth and vitality, kindness and mutuality, and eternity, a mystical capacity to transcend time and place. In the face of life and love, death seems cold and callous, wrong and rude, and utterly incongruous. Death is utterly incongruous, not only with my experience of love and life, it is utterly incongruous with my very experience of God. In my experience, and in the common experience of our forebearers in faith, God is a God of life. From the springing forth of creation to the new heavens and the new earth that await us on that final glorious day, to the great resurrection of Jesus and the harrowing of hell, the great teachers of our faith have proclaimed a fundamental truth of God. God is the God of life, of all that is warm and vital, of all that is verdant and alive, of all that is freeing and life-giving. This is God. And anything that stands in opposition to such life cannot be of God and cannot overcome God. Of course, resurrection from this side of life will always remain a mystery, but not a complete one. For already here and now we have the experience of eternity and immortality, of life beyond death for those we love, an experience shared by people of all faiths and of all times. So we rejoice this day. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, for by his great mercy we have been born anew to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead.